election information, election administration. I thought we would start.
Hold on just a minute. If we're not talking in the microphone, the people that are watching won't hear.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Jason Gant, County Auditor from Charleston, and we're going to do a brief introduction about election administration, some of the specific stuff that's been going on. Sherry has put together an amazing PowerPoint that we'll start as our overview, and then we'll open it up to question and answers. But to begin with, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and then get started. So as I mentioned, my name is Jason Gant, Charles Mix County, and we'll let the auditors introduce themselves.
Susan Kipke, Auditor, Davison County.
Tani Heineman, Moody County.
Jackie Sieverdeen, Union County.
Teresa Hodges, Spink County.
Sherry, Lincoln County. And what legislators? Do we have just the one legislator in the room?
Ernie Ott, be out of District 6, which is Harrisburg and T.
Steve Barnett, Secretary of State's Office out of Pierre.
Chris Jacobson, Executive Director, South Dakota Counties.
So we put a slide together to show some of the information. We do have it available here on the front too for the others. So the election system and software tabulating, Lincoln County specifically uses the DS-850 and Electionware. We have used the DS-850 since 2016, Electionware since 2020. Prior we used DS-650 and election recording. Our equipment is thoroughly tested according to the state law. Testing is open to the public. We run several mock elections to ensure equipment is exporting and importing information. What we've started doing as of last year, we get a test deck from ES&S, but then we do create hand ballots to add, or we fill in our own ballots so that we can see that, to alleviate some of the concerns that we've heard regarding getting the test deck from ES&S. So we put some of our own in there just to make sure that the machine is running the way it's supposed to. Election system and software ballot marketing system. Lincoln County uses an express vote. The express votes are HAVA and ADA compliant. This is the computer that you would see at the voting places during all federal elections. We test that equipment prior to sending it to the polling location, and precinct workers are required to test the equipment before voting starts. These machines are required because of the ADA. They're used for people that have disabilities, but we cannot deter. If you want to use it and you don't have a disability, we can't deter you from using it. So the big one, the cast vote record. Currently, we do not print off a cast vote record. We have not done it. At this point, it is on a flash drive that is sealed with our ballots per 1217B15. Those are only opened if we are court ordered to open them. The Electionware EMS can create this record, but we are not required to create the record. We do have to give the information in the format it is kept, which we can find on our county canvas. The county canvas is published on our website under elections, past election results. You can find the state canvas on the Secretary of State's website under election history. The CVR report would not include ballot images, as per South Dakota law does not allow the ballot imaging to be taken. The machine logs is the other one that we've got a lot of public records requests on. This is the paper that prints out on the dot matrix on our DS 850. This report does not include any results. This report only includes what has happened with the machine, when it was turned on, what passwords were entered, when it was turned off. And so this report is proprietary, and it's confidential, and it has trade secrets, which are not public. And that's 127 1.5-3. The report is, if the report was released, it could create a roadmap for bad actors to attempt to compromise our system. That's why that one is not a public records. The audit log continue. In the legislator letter to the governor, it talks about the machine logs being public according to 12/2013. The election returns are public, but the machine logs, the audit logs, are not public. It doesn't contain any election information. It doesn't contain any vote records. It is only the machine log. Office of Hearing Examiners, case number PRR 2203, and this is the decision and the order. The machine logs are proprietary according to the OHE, and the CVR is considered the programming board because we don't currently export the reports, and they are sealed along with the ballots per these state laws. And that is the presentation. So now we will do the questions. What is on the agenda? So I don't know if the other auditors want to go through then and state the machines that they use.
We use the DS 850 as same as Lincoln.
What is 450? 450. So many 50s. Charles Mix uses the 450. We're obviously not as large as Lincoln and Davison, so that's why we have a smaller machine. And then I think there's even an even smaller machine for counting.
We use the DS 450 as well. We're a smaller county in Moody.
We also use a 450. We have two of them.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Barker. I'm from Douglas County. So we are a small county and we use a DS 200.
We use the DS 450.
So the ballot counting machines are tested as I expressed in the PowerPoint. We do, how many public tests? We do one public test and at least one mock election. As long as everything comes out good in the mock election, which would be us exporting our information to the Secretary of State to make sure everything works, we do the one mock election. Oh, I don't think we've done just one mock election in a while, though. So we work out the bugs before that. We went across the express votes and the reason for those, the cast vote records. Now I'm going to ask Ernie if you have any questions. No questions from you? Kayla, did we have any legislators that sent in emails? Nope. Okay. And is there any questions from the public that is here? Of course, Chad Skiles has questions.
Of course he does. Two questions, if I may. First, could someone explain a little bit, if you have the knowledge, on the Second Circuit judge ruling and then 12-hour later reversal of that decision regarding holding the ballots?
I refer that to the state's attorney's office.
Why did I not come as a surprise to that? Second question then is not necessarily addressed to the auditors and even the state in the room, but perhaps to the group that's not here today, but graces our presence at many county commission meetings time after time after time. showing the same videos time after time after time. Where are they today? Just a rhetorical question. Thank you.
There was an invite sent out to them. And Kayla, do you have any questions from the public on the?
I do.
Do you want to turn on that microphone?
So I have two questions that were emailed in by Matthew. I'm probably going to pronounce this last name wrong. Monfro. His first question is, computer expert Jeff O'Donnell found that around 95% controversially, the CVR has been manipulated after looking at about 400 of them. Are you aware of this?
Lincoln County is not aware. Is any auditor aware of this?
His second question is, the Secretary of State Selection Director recently stated she needed clarity with the vendor on the CVR accessibility. Have you heard, has there been any clarification?
Still working on it? That's still under process or progress? Progress?
Yeah, so the Secretary of State responded that they are still looking into it, so there has not been clarification on that.
Something to keep in mind, like this, the CVR, I've been in elections a long time. This is the first time I've even heard about it. So it's never been something that's hit the area where it could be something with elections. So, I mean, it's great that I guess our machines do this information, and if it's one more way to provide additional information to the public about the accuracy of the machines, I think we're all pretty much in favor of anything we can do to show that our elections are accurate and the ballots are being counted correctly. One thing I did, because this was the first election, the June 22 primary was the first one I was hands-on with the machine, and what I did was I just took 10 ballots, marked them up, and had, 6 votes for this guy, 3 votes for this guy, and 1 vote for that guy, and ran it through the machine. So I could obviously hand count 10 ballots. It takes no time at all. And you run it through the machine, and the machine kicks out the exact same results. So I guess my concern with learning about the CVR and more information about it is I'm not quite sure what is possible for, like this person said, 95% of it's been hacked or whatever. Because when I just take 10 sample ballots, fill them in, run them through the machine, and the machine tells me the same results, I guess I'm pretty confident that that's working correctly. I mean, if those counting of the ovals don't work, I mean, maybe my daughter had a higher ACT score than she initially thought. But just taking a small sample like that, running it through the machine multiple times, and I'm going to do the same thing here in probably the next 30 days, is take 10 more new sample ballots from the general election, mark them up myself, run them through the machine, and see what the machine spits out for results. So I guess for me, I'm trying to figure out what benefit the CVR has so that it can make us even better, which would be great. But right now, when I just do that small sample, I mean, it's working. When we do the big samples, it also works. So I'm interested in learning more about that, and hopefully we can have these computer scientists give us more information about the value of that and how we can use it to improve our elections. But right now, all the little sampling that we've done, it's been spot on, so.
I would agree with you, Jason, and that's why Lincoln County put the extra ballots in there to mark them, just because we've heard the rumors about how the ES&S was programming it, then they give us the test ballots, and then, so if we added our own ballots in there, then it's an extra step of security. And again, the public tester, open to the public, they would see that that's what we were doing.
Okay, now since you opened the door to this, I signed on to the letter going to the governor. One of the committees that I work on is government audit, and we looked at it. We had information brought forth to us. And it was principally, the only thing that we could actually find on it was people not knowing how they were registered, and that part of it being. But the thing that, why three of us, I think, signed on to the letter is that as soon as we got done with that meeting, that's when we got the ping from the outfits saying that, I forget, 125 dead people were voting and whatnot. So that it gives you a second to pause and going, all right, what if? And so that's why some of us did sign on. I can tell you that my wife has been involved in questions on when a vote has come up, say for a state official, and we're within the margin of testing it. We're down to one vote that gets flipped. I mean, it's to think that there's widespread fraud in it. I mean, if you can, statewide, I think if you can come up with 5 votes on any election, you'd be hard pressed. We're that accurate. So that's it.
And Lincoln County was fortunate enough to have a recount, probably the last couple elections. And our recounts have came out the exact same as what they did the ballot night. And during the recount, they do a hand sample of ballots. So they are checking it then. My personal opinion is they've talked about doing an after-election audit. I don't think we do anything wrong, so I have no fear in an after-election audit. And bring it on. I don't think we have anything to worry about. We do enough pre-checking. We have enough security check marks done that we do. I'm not worried about it. And as far as the CVR report, if it was something that we were required to have, I'd have no problem giving it out. But right now, in the format that it's in, we cannot give it out because it is part of the media stick, which is sealed. So that is where the denials are coming from, solely on the media stick. Anybody else? And no more questions? Okay. I think that's going to conclude our meeting then, and I appreciate everybody that's come down to talk about it. And I think open forum and question and answers is the best way to get it resolved.
I want to address yours as far as voter registrations. A lot of people do come to the elections and they believe that they've registered as a Republican, or they changed it to an independent, or they're a Democrat, and they know for certain that they changed it. We can pull them registrations up right in our office and show them. So if a voter has any type of inkling that they are not, they should check their voter registrations. It's on the Secretary of State's website. They can call any auditor's office. They can go on themselves on their own computers to check them. Anytime we have a problem with anybody that comes in and they know for certain that they registered to vote, or they know for certain that they registered for a Republican, we do everything in our power in order to move forward with these people to find out if they are registered that party, or if they changed it, they don't remember it. So we try to help out any way we can.
Just to add in on that, the GOAC group, when we're asking those principal questions, one of the problems that was happening when we redistricted, we split precincts. And so a lot of that, things that we should have thought of, we didn't think of. And so there's where we found out that a lot of our problems also were running up on that. I've always voted here, and now I'm not here, and what went on? Well, every 10 years we redistrict.
I also agree with that, because I do have some people that I had to move for precincts. But in the same token, it is voters' responsibility to make sure that this is what they are or what they do, you know, and we published it and everything. So I do believe a voter also has some responsibility. It's not all on the auditor's office to make sure that you're correct. If you don't feel that you're correct, you should contact us and let us try to help you. And we're here to help. We're not here to hinder anybody or discourage or anything like that. We're here to help you, so.
We came to that conclusion too, that indeed was it. And in a free society such as there is personal responsibility that has to be taken up. And so that's where I wrote a letter to the T and Lennox papers. Lincoln County, I think, does a good deal. My signature on there is when I started getting all that other information, the what if snapped in. And so I've always been one of those strange cats that the best government is open and transparent. And when I first got up here, one of my mentors said, that's the first thing that you learn to do. Pull up your sleeves. If you bring the bill, I've got nothing to hide. Ask the questions. And so that's the way I...
Yep, and that's what we try to do. So, and as far as I've heard some people state, or when we watch the stuff in Peer, we've seen where people say they have different stuff that these people have signed and we've asked for them to bring them forward. They've never, what were they called again?
The affidavits.
The affidavits. They will not bring them forward. They're saying that we were making people vote on the wrong ballots. I don't feel that that's correct. We have to balance our ballots. You know, when somebody goes in to vote, we have to recap all our ballots, and our voting precincts have to recap the ballots after they get done for the day. So our ballots are always recapped. We're not short ballots, we're not long ballots, and as far as absentee goes, you can't absentee without your driver's license or signing that you are the person or coming in. You know, there's a lot of checkpoints, and a lot of stuff is being overlooked when some of this stuff is coming out. And I feel bad that people think that the auditors in our offices are the ones that are trying to slip something under the rug when we're not trying to slip stuff under the rug.
Making me do a lot of walking today.
Just as maybe a summary question, and that is that as a citizen and as a voter in South Dakota, who does appreciate and believes on 100% in our system and our county auditors and our Secretary of State to conduct an honest, free, open election. What can I do as that citizen voter to help you dispel, do I dare say, the alternative facts that seem to be constant, coming from what I've seen, a well-organized group, and they're all over the place. What can I do to help? Because every time they get up and they talk about this stuff and they show these videos, it is planting a seed of doubt in probably a majority of the citizen voters in South Dakota who don't take as active of a role in their city, county, state, and federal government and elections. What can we do? What can we do to help?
And I want to reiterate what Chad had said earlier. This meeting was advertised. It was all over social media. We have 7 county auditors here. We have our Secretary of State here. We only have 8 private citizens here and 1 seated House member as a legislator here. Where are all the vocal people that have come to this meeting all the time. Where are they? Where are the candidates that are talking about election integrity? Where are they? We had 2 emails about questions from the public. This is insane in the public's eye, and I want to go on record calling them out that if you can't come here and talk to the auditors and the Secretary of State when you say that there's election fraud in South Dakota, then that's on you. Don't be pulling those rumors when you can't come and publicly ask those questions and be transparent. Thank you, Sherry.
You know, everybody worries about these people questioning the government. I think question your government. 100% question them. There is nothing wrong with the question. I'm not doing anything wrong. I have no problem answering the questions. Feel free to question. Now, when it comes badgering, bullying, you're probably stepping over the line, but bring it if you want to. We do have another question online too.
Before we get to that, I just wanted to mention, I think the letter, the 24 legislators who signed the letter, I think it was kind of a wake-up call. Well, to me as an auditor, and I don't want to speak for all the auditors, but I believe for a lot of auditors that we need to do a better job of educating legislators and the public about what we do. It seems like during election season, all we're doing is putting public notices in the newspaper. So, I mean, there is so much information that comes from our offices that maybe it's too much and it's just people just glaze over it or just don't read the public notices. But maybe we have to do a better job of educating the local government committee at the legislature, all legislators in general. Maybe we need to do a better job of saying, hey, local legislator, we're testing the machine next Tuesday. Please come to the courthouse and watch us do this. You know, I don't know if we have to pull them out of their offices to come see this, but there's so much misinformation out there, and it's next to impossible to stop it, let alone slow it down, that we have to then talk about what we do and what processes we do have and all the double checks and triple checks and all the recaps. I don't know how many times my staff or the poll workers are sitting there counting ballots and making sure we have everything. I mean, sometimes it seems like we're going too far, but then nobody knows that we're doing all this stuff. And I think that's probably where, as auditors, we need to do a better job to get the legislators to understand and then hopefully the public.
So the question we have is from Matthew again, and he says, I was informed that the EAC standard for a test is 2,500 ballots. Do larger counties follow that?
Lincoln County does 25 ballots per style per state law. And then we go above that and include our hand-marked ballots into the mix.
Yeah, well, that's more voters than some counties have. But he's probably referencing when the election companies who produce those machines are. Yeah, so to become certified by the EAC, election companies like ES&S or Dominion or those Hart, those types of companies, that's what they have to do to get the EAC certification. So it's not something where we have to do 2,500 ballots during our election. The number of tests we have to do, like Sherry mentioned, is based off state law, not that EAC standard.
We do 25 per precinct per style on each test.
I do 25 per style, and if there is a different, I'm small again, most of my precincts a lot of the time don't have a separate race, so it's the same ballot. So I don't do each precinct unless I have a different race in that precinct, then I will do that precinct as well.
I am a smaller county as well, and I do 25 per style, but split them out into different precincts.
I split them out among the precincts, so each precinct is getting tested, but it's not 25 per precinct.
I just
want those in my county to know that I do about 40 because I combine, like they said, I do about 40 per precinct, per style, just to be on the safe side. So, and I combine the pre-marked ones with ones that we mark ourselves. And I have two staff do it so that there are two people accountable for that test.
I just want to say something quick too about, you were saying something about 125 registered voters that were that had passed away or whatever. Another thing the counties do is we always keep an eye on obituaries on all our county papers. I'm down by Sioux City, Iowa. So we watch the funeral homes in Iowa, we watch the paper in Iowa, we watch it all around our area, so that if we have a voter that has passed away, we go in and we print out that obituary and we put that in with our information and remove that voter. And a lot of times, people will call and say, you know, my father passed away or my mother passed away or whoever. And so they'll bring us the obituaries also, you know, so that we can pull them. So we try to stay really on top of the obituaries also.
But keep in mind, that's extremely difficult. We do have information from Social Security, from departments of health. However, the obituaries is going above and beyond, and you can't catch every obituary. There's no way we can do that. So yes, there are going to be dead people on the voter rolls, but that's because we haven't caught that yet, we haven't been notified yet, or it hasn't gone through the 2 presidential cycles where if you don't vote in, is it 6 years, then you're automatically removed. So yes, some of that is going to be there, and unfortunately, people die every day, so every day there's more and more on there, and we try and keep up with all of that. And
being on the roll versus actually voting are two totally different things. 100%.
Absolutely.
But they skew an alternative fact, just like that.
And like I said, most of us try to stay really on top of it, but we don't get it all, you know, because somebody could be down south and they pass away, you know, when they're on vacation, you know, during the winter or whatever, and it doesn't come back to Iowa or South Dakota, you know, because like I said, Iowa is close to us, so.
Well, too, if
try.
if somebody calls us and says, Joe Smith died, that does not give us reason to take him off the rolls. We have to
find
proof.
the obituaries.
We can't just say, oh, Joe Smith died, let's remove him. We can't do that by law, so.
So in my county, I'll give once I get my election board set, I'll give my election, like a week before the election, I'll give the superintendent a copy of the registration list and ask her just to look over it and see if there's anybody that pops out that she knows. And then if I can go back and look for that obituary, then I'll take them off before they go to the polls. But I think that was a really good point. Just because they are on the list does not mean that they're voting.
With the press release that went out, the unfortunate thing is it's their facts. We've asked for the information. I know I have. I'm sure other counties have. We've asked for information. Give us names. Give us your affidavits. Let us research it. If there's something wrong, we certainly want to fix it. We don't want to have wrong voter rolls. We don't want to have misinformation. On the one thing they said was the people over 125 years old. Well, what happened is we went from 1 to total vote. And if they didn't have a birth date in there, it defaulted it to 1900. Well, guess how old that makes you? And so we went through and we checked out a couple, and there was a couple that their voter registration, they were actually born in 1974. But because it wasn't on the old system, it defaulted to 1900. That would make you over 125. 122. Yeah. So,
Their thing was 120 was on there.
120 was on there. But I mean, and I've asked several times, send me your information, give me your affidavits, let me research it. Nothing. So we're not out here stopping anything from happening. We want to fix it. We just don't have the information. And in Lincoln County, we have 45,000 registered voters-ish. So to go through each one of those records and make sure that everything is correct, that's more time consuming than we have time for. So if you have the information, let us know.
And now it brings up to a conversation I was just having about a half hour ago with another legislator. One way to fix this would be from the Secretary of State's office of hiring actually FTEs that we would have in staff up there to go through the voter rolls. And since I've got the Secretary of State here, if the Secretary of State walked into just put him in appropriations and said, I need 4 individuals, costs with benefits, I suppose, let's put it at $80,000 per, and we needed to research this. The hard probability, without him getting his head handed to him, but he would not. So the folks that are listening to this, every time you ask a question like that, and we start going into FTEs to try to solve the problem, we can do it, but how many hundreds you want stuck in there? I mean, it's got to be paid for, and I'm looking at the folks that are going to pay it, so.
Keep in mind, those dead people that are on the voter rolls, they have to show a driver's license to get their ballot on election day. So that's going to be kind of difficult if they're not alive, so.
Hey, thanks again, Sherry, for helping organize this, and thank you to our wonderful, honest county auditors for taking the time to come here and for all you folks. I'll go back to Representative Otten's point. I think the first one where you mentioned the split I don't know if you plan on being peer 10 years from now when they redistrict again or not. It depends if Betty lets you go out there probably. But that's if they can avoid splitting the precincts in the district, that's big. And we'll be doing some public service announcements here shortly. The voter registration deadline is going to be October 24th this year. And then the early absentee voting starts September 23rd. So we'll be doing some 30-second public service announcements, reminding folks of that. And also to, as Jackie said, to double check the polling location because of the new districts and the sample ballot as well, so they know which cast of candidates they should be voting for. And they can check that on their phone on the way into the voting booth. But we'll remind them of that, and if there's anything else you want us to emphasize, we can certainly do that. And we have our Facebook site is just SDSOS. We also have a Twitter handle. So, and I would encourage all the county auditors to develop your own Facebook page if you can, as that is helpful. And then back to your question, Chad, I think getting in your coffee groups and just trying to speak the truth. I know there's some people that just don't trust government. And so the federal officials with Department of Homeland Security, our county auditors, and the folks at the state, you're more credible than we are in a way. So I think, and in letters to the editor, I don't discount those. Those were, probably stronger 20 years ago or 10 years ago, but I think those are very helpful because people in your community trust you, they look up to you. And when you're speaking the truth, that helps. We appreciate that. And we'll be doing at least 2 op-ed pieces with the South Dakota Newspapers Association, again, reminding folks of these deadlines I just talked about. And we did that in the primary. And, obviously some people didn't. You can lead a horse to water, you just can't make them drink. But again, I want to thank the auditors for all their hard work. There's a lot of scrutiny with election officials, and you guys are on the front lines. We appreciate everything you do.
Any more questions, Kayla? Okay. Anybody else got anything that they want to say? Okay, well, Lincoln County, I'm sure, as the other auditors, have an open door policy. So anybody that's willing to come in or wants to come in and talk, we are here 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, except for holidays. And we've always got somebody in the office. So come in, talk to us if you want to. We are free for that.
Again, thank you to everyone for attending, and special thanks to the auditors. If there's more opportunities in the future, we're willing to put on a roadshow and go visit with the legislators and visit with the public. it's too important for people not to believe in elections. I mean, that's the whole future of every single elected official. And if people aren't believing in the elections, then we're really failing at our jobs and we have to do better. So again, thank you all for coming and appreciate all the input. Thanks.